Let me ask you guys a question. Let's say you're going into work and because of the current situation, you're stuck at home and maybe you don't, take the appropriate time to get dressed like you would if you were going into the office. And all of a sudden you hop on your Zoom call and then you just, maybe you get the urge, maybe you're a little hungry, maybe you're a little thirsty. Do you ever get the urge to just whip your dick out and start fucking beating it on the call? Well, apparently Jeffrey Toobin decided that he really wanted to free the lizard at a most inopportune time. New York suspends Jeffrey Toobin, or the New Yorker suspends Jeffrey Toobin for masturbating on a Zoom call. He's also a CNN contributor, and that's going to play a lot into the fact that he has several other co-workers over there at that fine institution that have also made asses of themselves. But before we dig into that, we'll see what we know so far, or hopefully the less we know the better. The New Yorker has suspended reporter Jeffrey Toobin for masturbating on a Zoom video chat between members of the New Yorker and WNYC radio last week. Toobin says he did not realize his video was on, but he was in the call and he was still beaten off. Yeah, this dude's a creep. I wonder if there was a potted plant nearby. I made an embarrassingly stupid mistake. Yep, that's all you needed to say, and then just walk off. Believing I was off camera, I apologize to my wife, family, friends, shoes, that one crusty sock, and co-workers, Toobin told Motherboard. I believe I was not visible on Zoom. I thought no one on the Zoom call could see me. I thought I had it muted on the Zoom video. Why would you be on a live call? Have you ever been so horny that you cannot contain yourself for all of half an hour that a fucking Zoom call would last? Or is it just that boring and you're just trying to get off the call? I understand most of the reason why all these news shows, cable ratings, with the exception of Tucker Carlson, are just taking a fucking nosedive in the ratings, because there's the only thing less exciting than being in a Zoom call is watching somebody else's Zoom call. But if you're watching Jeffrey Toobin's Zoom call, it's more like a Zoom tube call. But it doesn't say in this article here that he's a contributor to CNN, but he's one of their legal analyzers in his case, that often gets the call. And you guys know I only like to use CNN when there's a good gut laugh to be had, and we've got fine other contenders. Actually, we've got another 5 other contenders. A couple of them are just terrible, idiotic fucking journalist moments on the reality TV network known as CNN. And 3 were just prime CNN anchor material. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to start off with one Jake Tapper, a man who takes himself way too fucking seriously. He should really be working at a place like C-SPAN where he doesn't have to show off his lack of personality, where he can just be a straight newsman because I'm important and shit. Stephen Miller and CNN's Jake Tapper face off in off-camera dispute. You should be ashamed of yourself. I think that's what Jake Tapper says to himself in the morning, in the mirror every single day. Newly reported quotes that a heated segment between CNN's Jake Tapper and White House advisor Stephen Miller continued off-camera on Sunday, with Tapper telling Miller, "Don't act so offended." This, by the way, was early January of 2018. We're going all across the spectrum because CNN has been shit for years, and you deserve to know that. Or at least have that reinforced with facts and logic. Pew pew! CNN news producer Arden Farhi obtained the back and forth, which occurred just after Tapper abruptly ended the interview by stating Miller had wasted enough of the viewers' times. What a sterling interviewer Jake Tapper truly is. A man who couldn't take control of the situation, so he had to resort to slanderous accusations and name-calling. Jake, what I care about is having 3 minutes to tell the truth about the President of the United States, Miller said to Tapper after State of the Union cut to commercial, which is something a responsible news network would do. The outside of what we're dealing with in 2020, normally the State of the Union is the single most important address from the president throughout the entire year. But CNN, because they have a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome, likes to cut away at inopportune times whenever the president is making himself look good. Anyways, you had plenty of time, Tapper said. I let you give like a 3-minute filibuster at the very top. What a cunt. You gave me 2 minutes, Miller shot back, later adding, "You should be ashamed of yourself, honestly. This is the reason they don't put you out on TV," Tapper said. "Okay, this is the reason?" You spent the entire interview attacking CNN. Okay, so don't act all offended. The host added later in the exchange. I'm not acting offended, Miller said. I am offended. I'm offended by you and I'm offended by your network. Miller reportedly was escorted off set by CNN security after refusing to leave after that because little baby Tapper couldn't handle the situation, so he had to get the big strong scary men to take little Stephen Miller out. Just a fucking embarrassing human being. Not the most embarrassing situation we'll get into, and definitely if we're going on the ethical journalist to Jeffrey Toobin scale, it is somewhat, I would give it about a 2. It's definitely more ethical journalist, but he still works for CNN, so you know. And then we're going to hop over to everybody's favorite correspondent, Jim Acosta of CNN, an embarrassment to village idiots. It's just so fun and so refreshing to read because Jim Acosta is quite possibly the most annoying human being on earth. At a time when American political press could not possibly do any more to embarrass himself, CNN's Jim Acosta strikes again, this time overseas after President Trump spent the weekend meeting with the world's most powerful leaders. Do you agree, Mr. Acosta slithered, that it is despicable for a government to kill a journalist? What a fucking leading question. What a leading question. Who gave this idiot a microphone? Who gave him a press badge? Who would give this nut a minute of airtime? Oh, CNN would. CNN would, because they are no longer a news network. It is more or less a reality TV show that just continuously hands off at the top of every hour the most trusted name in news. The once vaunted international television network was once known for its brave reporters who covered wars under falling bombs and inside the war zone, once known for its fearless correspondents who went behind enemy lines to shine a bright light on evil dictators, once known for its serious reporters who brought attention to atrocities and famine in the farthest corners of the world. Now Jim Acosta, preening before cameras like a wounded peacock who doesn't know his plumage, has all fallen out. The only feathers left are soggy, wet, and dull. But boy, does he actually have a nice head of hair. Just look at that. About the only nice thing you can say about Jim Acosta. Yet, on he preens and struts and clucks, a sad display and an embarrassment to all the other birds. Mr. Acosta gets a shot at asking the other leaders of the free world a question. An opportunity like that is a responsibility for any real reporter. A chance to give voice to millions and millions of Americans who will never get a shot at asking President a question. An opportunity to shed light on some hidden injustice. An opportunity to inform and improve our body politic. And this ridiculous bozo asks the president whether he opposes a part-time newspaper columnist being murdered and brutally dismembered with a bone saw. Seriously? He asks this in front of a room full of reporters from around the world. And what must those people think of America? The seriousness of our press. What a joke. And y'all remember, it wasn't even that long after the president was immediately elected and held one of his first press conferences at the White House. Jim Acosta was, of course, there front and center, making an ass of himself. And I forget what the question was, and I forget what the response was from President Trump. I think he was just trying to stand up, Jim Acosta was, and just trying to make a scene for himself. And President Trump, in a line that he has now used ad nauseum, points directly at Jim Acosta. You are fake news. And that's why Jim Acosta gets lumped in with the Dick Stroker and way too serious Jake Tapper. Then we got Wolfstradamus himself. As much praise as I heaped on the man last week for standing up to Nancy Pelosi, Wolf Blitzer loses jeopardy and dignity. The king of deadpan news delivery, Wolf Blitzer, got his beard handed to him by Andy Richter on Thursday's edition of Celebrity Jeopardy. The host of CNN's The Situation Room finished Double Jeopardy with a negative $4,600, meaning he would have been more successful not answering a single question. I think that's one of the internet's very earliest memes, because you remember this was back in friggin' September of 2009. I was going to say 2019, but geez, yeah, 11 years ago. And the man is still a respected figure on the mainstream cable news. A man who you're supposed to take serious for his intellect and for his delivery. It was minus 4,600 in the hole on Celebrity Jeopardy, where the questions are significantly dumbed down. The most trusted name in news. And now we get into the really funny ones. We'll go to a more recent situation. Cyclist who criticized Chris Cuomo, everybody's favorite juicer, and lesser brother to Andrew Cuomo, and lesser son to Mario Cuomo, for not self-quarantining outside his Hamptons home on Easter Sunday, says CNN host, looked like a boiling pot and kept advancing at him during heated row. David Whelan claimed that he had decided to go on a bike ride near where Cuomo is building his new home because he grew up in the area. It was then that Whelan noticed Cuomo from far away. Just under 2 weeks after the host announced he had tested positive with the coronavirus. Wow, at this time you were supposed to be staying at home, locking yourself in your basement so you wouldn't get anyone else affected. Which you're also supposed to be doing now in places like Ontario and Quebec and many other European countries around the world and many other, it's fucking out of hand. But regardless, he was supposed to be taking this very seriously. I think the next words were, "What the hell do you know about this? What do you know about the rules?" the cyclist claimed. That's what, Andrew, he's not that prestigious. That's what Chris Cuomo yelled at the cyclist. Whelan was asked if he had tested for the virus and said that while his daughter was a doctor at Johns Hopkins University, normal people couldn't get tested. Chris, his wife Christina, and their son Mario Cuomo, 14, all tested positive for the coronavirus, although the couple have since recovered. In a statement released after the story of the encounter broke, CNN said, Chris has said emphatically that this has never happened, even though there's video evidence of it. Chris Cuomo continuously makes an asshole out of himself, and this was just the most recent example, and he's perfectly in company with Jim Acosta, Wolf Blitzer, and Jake Tapper over there at CNN. A man who constantly brags about how much he can deadlift. A man who has gone on his own radio show proclaiming he's not even proud of what he does on cable news anymore. I don't even think he really knows what he stands for anymore, but he sure does love to cash those checks every single month. And last but not least, of course, everybody's favorite worst journalist of the year, Don Lemon, worst journalist of the year, got real drunk on New Year's Eve. I think you guys probably remember this one. This is one of the many black eyes for CNN. Mariah Carey wasn't the only one to have a super weird New Year's Eve, as CNN's celebrity llama reporter Don Lemon got his ear pierced and got real about 2016 during the network's annual televised New Year's celebration. In an effort to liven up the affair, CNN, in its infinite wisdom, sent Lemon and Brooke Baldwin to New Orleans to ring in the new year, and well, Don Lemon made the most of it. It all started out, innocently enough, with shots. And more shots, as New Orleans, well, it is New Orleans after all. After so much booze, it made sense that Don Lemon would want to get something pierced. Kathy Griffin wisely encouraged him to go for the nipple. Luckily, someone around here has common sense, and Lemon settled for just getting his ear pierced on national television instead. He did have the wherewithal, though, to request that no blood get on his jacket. Well, of course, he doesn't want to have to get it dry cleaned. Just have to get all these, vodka, gin, and cum stains out of it. Of course, with all those shots and so many emotional things going on, like getting an ear pierced on national television, it was only a matter of time before Lemon turned into your drunk buddy and got all real about life in Shiznit in 2016. I have always lived my life to the very fullest, he said to a flabbergasted Baldwin. Things went downhill so fast that within 10 seconds, Lemon pronounced, "I am a bad person to date." Speaking for all the world, Baldwin asked, "Are we going there right now?" Oh, but the night wasn't over for Don, not by a long shot. After all, he was lit. And when New Orleans, one must be part of this second line parade. He continued to make an asshole out of himself, is long and short of this, and he's done this on multiple occasions, but this was definitely the most famous of it. If you guys remember the videos that virally circulated around this time, he was, face down on the bar, and it was just reaction shots back to the bird's nest for the ball being dropped in New York City, where Don Lemon was trying to find some place to drop his balls. And Kathy Griffin, with all of her tact and decorum, standing next to Anderson Cooper, a man who I have no idea if he even has any emotions. He's just kind of a necklace individual who makes sure he adjusts his glasses perfectly. Man was so much better on the mole. They were horrified throughout the entire night, but hey, it makes for good TV, right? People are at least talking about CNN, even though CNN's been a running joke for years, and I think that perfectly encapsulates the Zoom dick phenomenon that was trending on Twitter earlier today, and I just had to, talk about that and drag up CNN for a good laugh, because we covered a lot of very dense topics here today, and I figured, hey, why not throw in another dense topic? So, hope you guys all enjoyed that, and had a quick laugh at the expense of these millionaires out there that don't provide any sort of service to the public. I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you guys to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.